Army sergeant in custody after 5 soldiers shot at Fort Stewart. Fort Stewart, Georgia, August 7, 2025. A routine morning at Fort Stewart, one of the U.S. Army's largest bases, was shattered on Wednesday when a sergeant opened fire on his fellow soldiers, injuring 5 and prompting an immediate lockdown. The suspect, now in custody, is facing multiple charges as military investigators and federal authorities work to determine what led to the violent outburst. Incident details. The shooting occurred around 10:56 a.m. in a unit area belonging to the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team. Emergency alerts were sent out as the base went into lockdown, and by 11:35 a.m., the alleged shooter had been subdued and taken into custody by fellow soldiers. The lockdown was lifted shortly afterward, though many areas remained secured as authorities launched their investigation. The 5 wounded soldiers were quickly transported to nearby medical facilities. According to Fort Stewart officials, 3 required surgery, but all 5 are currently listed in stable condition and are expected to recover. Their names have not yet been released. Suspect identified. The shooter has been identified as Sergeant Cornelius Cementrio Radford, 28, a logistics specialist assigned to the same brigade where the shooting took place. He has been stationed at Fort Stewart since 2022 and has not been deployed overseas. Officials confirmed that Radford used a personally owned 9mm Glock handgun, which he had purchased legally in Florida earlier this year. The weapon was not military issued, and investigators are now probing how Radford managed to bring it onto the secure military installation without detection, a violation of base policy. Possible motive and background. While a motive has not been officially confirmed, early reports suggest that the attack may have stemmed from an ongoing dispute between Radford and one or more individuals within his unit. One Army official, speaking on condition of anonymity, said that Radford had a confrontation with a fellow soldier the previous day, which could be linked to the shooting. Additional details have also emerged about Radford's personal life and recent behavior. He was arrested in May 2025 for driving under the influence and running a red light, charges that, notably, his chain of command was unaware of prior to the incident. This lapse in communication is now under review as part of a broader inquiry into whether warning signs were missed. Radford's father, in comments to the press, claimed that his son had expressed frustrations with what he described as racial bias and toxic work conditions at Fort Stewart. According to him, Radford had requested a transfer, though the Army has yet to confirm whether such a request was made or reviewed. Swift response prevents greater tragedy. Military leaders and security officials have praised the quick response of soldiers on the scene, who physically tackled and restrained Radford before more harm could be done. According to Brigadier General John Lubis, commanding officer of the 3rd Infantry Division, the actions of our soldiers were nothing short of heroic. Their quick thinking and courage saved lives. Radford was taken into pretrial confinement, and the Army Criminal Investigation Division, CID, in coordination with the FBI, is leading the investigation. The Office of the Special Trial Counsel will determine the formal charges, which are expected to include multiple counts of attempted murder. Community reaction and leadership response. The incident has sparked concern among the military community and beyond. Fort Stewart is home to over 15,000 active duty personnel and is a key component of the U.S. Army's operational readiness on the East Coast. President Donald Trump, who was briefed on the shooting, expressed prayers for the injured soldiers and called for a full accounting of how the incident occurred. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also issued a statement praising the fast-acting troops and affirming the Department of Defense's commitment to base safety. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp expressed his support for the Fort Stewart community and vowed state cooperation in the federal investigation. Security and policy questions raised. The incident has reignited debate over firearm policies on military bases. Currently, active duty soldiers are generally not allowed to carry personal firearms on base unless authorized under specific circumstances. While this policy is intended to maintain order and discipline, critics argue that enforcement and monitoring are inconsistent, especially when service members purchase weapons off-base. Moreover, concerns about mental health support, stress management, and reporting procedures within military units are now at the forefront of public discussion. The fact that Radford's civilian DUI arrest went unnoticed by his chain of command raises questions about information sharing between law enforcement agencies and military authorities. Ongoing investigation and outlook. As of now, Radford remains in military custody, and the victims continue their recovery. Investigators are interviewing witnesses, reviewing surveillance footage, and piecing together a clearer picture of Radford's recent behavior and state of mind. Charges are expected to be announced in the coming days. While Fort Stewart has resumed normal operations, the impact of the shooting will be felt for months. The Army has pledged to conduct a comprehensive review of the incident to ensure accountability and prevent future violence.